Welcome back to Winning on Taxes, and we're talking about reporting requirements and how do you make sure that you're not going to have any problems with the IRS. Now it gets a little scary. The next two ones that we're talking about aren't even directly handled by the IRS. So you have the Treasury Department, and underneath the umbrella of the Treasury Department, you have all the little agencies. The IRS, we call it little, but it's one of the agencies under the umbrella that is the Treasury Department. One of the other agencies is called FinCEN. So this is the organization that investigates and goes after financial crimes. So this doesn't mean you're committing a crime, but again, we're just talking about reporting requirements, but this is how you stay clear of problems with taxes with the government. And the first one was CTA or BOI reporting, which is business ownership interest. Now, this has a crazy history. I'm going to summarize it fairly quickly, and you'll see why. It's been very up and down and all over the place. So, first of all, in 2021, Congress passed this law at the beginning of the year, January 2021. And they said, look, we want to centralize all kinds of information. The government already has most of this information. It's spread out among different agencies. We want to force people to give us their personal information. So if there is an issue, we know exactly how to go after this. And the justification for this was to crack down on criminal enterprises. And again, it's something that's very real. Criminals are getting more sophisticated by the day, using LLCs, different business methods to break the law, scam taxpayers, and commit all kinds of crime. So is it a real issue? Yes. Is this the solution? Congress thought so. So it was very interesting that they passed it in 2021, but didn't make it effective for 2024 until the end of 2024. So Congress is really good at punting the ball, saying, hey, let's do this, but let's make other people in the next Congress or two deal with the mess and deal with the fallout here. And again, it's just politics. But this came due, and there have been all kinds of lawsuits back and forth. And the original filing date where people were first required to file for this, January 1st of 2024. The final filing deadline where everybody had to comply was January 1st of 2025. So we're now past that, and it's gone up, it's gone down. There have been, of course, all kinds of court cases in federal court, an appellate court. They even went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yes, the government can do this. And then lo and behold, just to throw another spin in the cycle, on March 2nd, which was a Sunday, Trump administration came out and said, we're not going to enforce this. That the people can still report, they can still do this, but we're not going to have any penalties. There's no teeth. We're not going to punish anybody for not complying and reporting the ownership interest for each company. And this would be for every small company in the United States, as long as you're organized. If you're formed to do an LLC and LLP, if you get an EIN for your business, you are required to report it, essentially. Well, not if you were doing it in your sole name, like as a DBA, but any kind of organization, you're required to report this information. The problem is that most businesses didn't know about it, even though they talked about it and it's been noised about for the last year. Again, talking to taxpayers, most of them had no clue about this. And this is why I want to talk about it, to educate people so you're aware of it. Who knows? Another president, or in 2 years, Congress might say, hey, we have this law in the books. We need to enforce it. It's still a law in the books. And so be aware that if they do something like that, talk to your CPA. And pretty much most of the CPAs are very aware of it by now. Tax preparers are aware of it. And then the one final thing that we're going to talk about is FBAR. And I'm just going to touch on it. I'll probably do a whole show just on foreign reporting of assets. And if it sounds complicated, it is. Sorry. But this is another big thing that's hitting taxpayers. And this one has all the teeth, and it's been applied regardless of which party controls the government for decades. So it's definitely something to be aware of, that if you have foreign assets over $10,000, you need to report it. And again, this is something every CPA should be asking about. I believe most are at this time. So we're going to hit on that as we wrap up the show in our next segment after this commercial break.